So I really hate political correctness. I just really don't care for it. I could do a huge video series on it, probably just choosing examples of it that I see in popular culture and then showing how ridiculous and stupid and counterintuitive they are. But this is more, I guess, specific than that, and I'm talking about political correctness just in regard to how parents raise their kids and how they, boost their children's self-esteem and whatnot. And I feel as though I can talk about this from a little bit more, first-hand perspective, since I am young. I'm not, a really young kid still, but I'm young enough that I grew up in kind of the beginning of this era where parents are told to, just coddle their kids and protect them from everything. And of course, it's much worse than it was when I was younger now, but I'm also not going to be a complete idiot and pretend like, my generation was the last one to ever, experience true, childhood and all that, because that's irritating. Everybody knows that's not true, and you always end up looking like a stupid cocksucker when you pretend like your generation is the last one to do anything and that all subsequent generations couldn't, think their way out of a paper sack. But anyway, this is more of a critique in regard to how children are raised from a young age, how they're told that they're intelligent, how they're just lauded with praises, and I want to kind of compare that to the way kids in the Eastern world, so Japan, China, the way they're raised and how they build self-esteem. So essentially, the first thing you notice when you walk into a kid's classroom nowadays is that it's so mind-numbingly politically correct that even insinuating that one child is smarter than another, even encouraging one child to, look at another child as a role model and for them to emulate that student's academic patterns and practices, to even say that is ridiculous, and that's completely out of line, because we're totally convinced that by comparing kids to other kids and by allowing them to compete, that we're actually really damaging them, because then their poor self-esteem, oh, what if they lose the dodgeball game? What if they don't win the spelling bee? Oh, that'd be such a damn shame. How would they ever recover? How would they learn to, hold themselves in high regard after such a crushing blow to morale, which is really, really aggravating to me, because kids are being protected from failure and from reprimand and from correction so exceedingly that when they do get out into the real world, they don't know how to react to being corrected. These kids don't know how to react when someone tells them, this assignment is wrong, redo it. And I've seen that firsthand. There was a girl in my psychology class. This was 2 years ago, and we had one short paper for the psych class, and she did the assignment completely wrong. Now, I didn't read her assignment or anything, but I was in the class, and it was very apparent that she did the assignment completely wrong. And when the professor refused to accept it, she just threw a huge hissy fit and blamed it on how the professor hadn't, conveyed the instructions correctly, and how everyone was picking on her, and how it should have been made more clear. And it was just a really just pertinent example to me of seeing someone who was raised in the same generation I was, who just completely has no concept of knowing how to be responsible for their own actions, because this was clearly a girl who had never been told that she had done anything wrong by her parents. She was told she was a brilliant, intelligent young lady who was just, God's gift to man. And, some people legitimately are very intelligent, and they probably could be classified as God's gift to man or God's gift to woman or whatever what the hell you want to say, whatever common vernacular phrase, because I even know that just because I said the word God, people are going to be like, ooh, you're an atheist, can't say God, but yeah, screw you. But anyway, so in regard to more of this political correctness, it's just frustrating because, and it sounds bad, but you really do see this a lot more amongst girls my age than guys my age, and that's not because girls are intrinsically, more snobby or anything than guys, and that's not at all what I'm trying to convey. It's just, I think, because, it's not uncommon for parents to raise their little girl and tell their little girl that they're the most beautiful, wonderful cupcake, shiny little diamond in the rough, the most wonderful little girl that ever exists that just gets coddled and praised and just, pretty much given whatever she wants at any juncture. With guys, you don't really raise your son like that. Even if you love your son just immensely, you never, coddle him, and you never say, oh, you mean your feelings were hurt, son? Oh, I'm so sorry. Let's just talk about it. Let's make sure you're feeling okay, because I want to, validate your emotional needs. No, that's not how it works with guys, even though, trust me, I have seen some prima donna guys in college with them, messing up their assignments and whatnot, so that's not to say that guys are better overall, but as far as political correctness goes in the classroom, you end up screwing the kids up so much with stuff like with stuff like competition, and especially dodgeball just jumps out to mind. It immediately pops into my head as the #1 example of something that's just been eradicated from the school system that actually taught kids a valuable lesson. You know, like dodgeball may seem like it's just a children's game, but it's not just a children's game. When you're sitting there in gym and you're playing the game of dodgeball, there are some very clear rules. If you hit someone with another ball, you essentially defeated them. You sent them out of the game. If you get hit by a ball, then you have been defeated at the hands of another person. There's no bullshit talking about it. There's no rhetoric. There's nothing. There's no cushiony, oh, you shouldn't have thrown it so hard. No, screw that. It's all you win or you lose. It's a simple black and white equation. And that's what some kids just need to realize. Some kids need to realize that just because your parents told you that you were a smart, awesome, handsome, or pretty kid, that doesn't mean shit. That doesn't mean that everyone should just have to, cater to your needs and just feel blessed to be in your presence, because that's ridiculous. Because one thing that kids in my generation, and all subsequent generations, I would assume, need to realize is that you can't take your parents' compliments seriously. I'm sorry I had to throw that out there for you guys, but you really can't. If your parents are telling you that you are so intelligent and you are so hardworking or something, you really can't believe them that much. You have to take that with a grain of salt, because your parents are going to laud you with praises. You don't think every other freaking parent out there isn't pouring heaps of praise onto their mediocre children? Of course they are. And so what happens is these kids who are told that they're not hardworking, who are told that they're intrinsically intelligent their whole lives, when they get presented with something like math or science that's intrinsically difficult that they actually have to think about, if it doesn't immediately come to them and they don't immediately understand it, they just think, oh, yeah, I'm just shitty at math. I don't have to try because my parents told me I was a freaking genius. And so if it doesn't immediately pop out to me, that's clearly just a topic that I have no interest in, because if I did have interest in it, my supreme intellect would have given me insight into this wonderful world of math or science or what have you. And so that's the problem you get with it, is you build up a politically correct little segment of the population, mostly youth, that think that they are so just intrinsically good and superior that they don't even have to try. They don't even have to work, because, if something is difficult, that's just a testament to the fact that it's unfair, not that they should work harder or something like that. So that's why I think that, if you're giving your kid praise, don't tell your kid that they're intrinsically smart and awesome, because then you're going to raise that kid to think that if they don't understand something or if they don't like something, that they should just dismiss it and immediately say, oh, that's not up to my level of acceptance. That doesn't meet my level of what's deemed appropriate. So it's really just a negative thing. It's counterintuitive, and you can see why parents would want to tell their kids that they're just little wonderful buttercup geniuses that are just wonderful and awesome in every conceivable way, but it's really just a detrimental way to raise your kids. And keep in mind, this is coming from a kid, me, who was told repeatedly all the time growing up by my parents how just awesome and smart I was, and how I was just so smart, and that at the time it really made me feel good. But looking back, I can see how the way I didn't get into math or science because it was difficult, that was really impacted negatively, and I really do wish that I could go back and pour a lot more effort into those subjects instead of just being an arrogant fuckhead who thought I was smart and could just breeze through everything without effort. But anyway, that's all I got to say. I hope this little video on political correctness made some sense, kind of just a ranting style. If you enjoyed, ratings appreciated. If you don't, yell at me in the comments. Thanks.